Hi, it's Juan with Hands-On Therapy Services, and today I just went and picked a whole bunch of beautiful mangoes. It's mango season. I'm in Miami, so excited. Love mangoes. And I was just really inspired to talk to you about some of my tips on how to cut a mango and not cut your hands. I know there's been this huge craze talking about avocado hands and all these injuries that are coming because everyone's eating avocados. Well, people, I feel, have been eating avocados forever, and they've been eating tons of different types of fruit forever. And just because you're cutting something and you cut your hand doesn't mean you get a name for it. So these are some of my tips about how you can avoid cutting your fingers, okay? You're not gonna find these tips anywhere else because they are mine, and these are my tips to you on how to avoid cutting your fingers, okay? So when you are cutting up a mango, you want to make sure that you're not in a rush. Okay, I know it smells delicious, it tastes super yummy, but don't be in a mad rush, okay? Because the more in a rush you are, then the more likely you are to be able to cut your finger, okay? It's still going to be here for you whenever you get done cutting it up. My other tip is use a really good sharp knife. So my example today, in my office, I have a very dull knife, but it's not the best. If you can avoid cutting with a dull knife, so everyone cuts their fruit a little differently. I don't know if you've guys seen some videos on Facebook where it tells you to cut down the sides along the seeds and then use just a cup to scoop out the fruit. So you can do that. I personally cut the tip of the fruit off, and then I hold my knife like this and I cut. So I'm always in control with my thumb and my finger, but that's how I learned to cut. A lot of people I know cut like this, where they come down into their thumb, okay, and they cut like that. Whichever way you're comfortable with cutting, just make sure you use a really good sharp knife, and it's going to make it really safe and easy for you to get to this delicious mango. If you're not really good at cutting, and you're afraid to use a knife, you can cut off the ends and make the mango have a more stable surface so that it doesn't roll all over the place. And I know that for some people, what they love to do, I personally don't do this, but a lot of people like to do is they'll get a really ripe mango and they'll squish it with their hands until all the pulp and the juice is inside, and they'll just bite off a piece at the end and then suck the pulp and the juice out. That's not my preferred method. I'd rather cut, but if you're not comfortable cutting, you're afraid to cut your fingers, then you could do it that way. But the best thing is if you are going to cut any fruit, especially mango, which is one of my favorite summer fruits, just make sure you're not in a rush. Use a really good sharp knife, and if you are not as comfortable cutting, just make sure that you cut one end of it and make your fruit be a lot more stable, and that's just going to help prevent you from cutting any tendons in your fingers that will require surgery and lots of therapy. So those are my tips for cutting up mangoes. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you.